Today we are going to reheat one of our whole briskets that you have purchased from us. All the hard work has been done already, and the most important thing you need to do is just take your time. You just want to take it low and slow, just like we're cooking in the barbecue pit. You don't want to rush the process. If you overcook the brisket, then it's not going to be nearly as enjoyable. I would give yourself about 2 hours to reheat this brisket. We have a nice cushion to get the thing cooked. We're going to go through the process and show you how it's done. So before you get started, there are a couple of things you're going to need to reheat this brisket. A large baking pan or sheet tray, a roll of aluminum foil, and a meat thermometer. Your brisket, you're ready to go in the pan. Set it right down, and now we're going to wrap it up with some foil. Now that you've got your brisket wrapped up, it's time to put it in the oven. You want to preheat that to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Put it in the oven, close the door, and leave it alone. The next thing you take in consideration when you're reheating your brisket is everybody's oven is different. Some are going to be a little bit slower because they're a little bit lower. Some are going to be cooking a little bit faster, a little bit hotter. Stick to that 2-hour window we talked about. After the brisket's been in the oven for about an hour, you're going to want to check it with that meat thermometer. So we're going to check our brisket now and see what we got going on in there. After about an hour in, we're sitting at about 136 degrees. We're going to continue cooking this for a little bit longer. We'll wrap it up, check it in about 20 minutes. You're looking for about 145 degrees at this point in the cooking process. If your oven is cooking a little bit slower and it's tipping out at like 120 degrees, no worries. Just keep cooking it a little bit longer until you get to that 160 degree temperature. That's what we're looking for. So after that first check, you're going to want to check the brisket about every 20 minutes. You want to get the brisket up to about 160 degrees. That's the serving temperature that we're shooting for. At that point, you're going to want to pull it out of the oven, take all the foil off of it, and let it rest for about 20 minutes before you serve it. So now that that brisket is rested for about 20 minutes, it's time to grab a knife so we can carve this bad boy up and serve some brisket. The first thing you want to do is figure out which portion of the brisket is the point and which side is the flat. You're going to want to cut it in half at this point and start slicing the flat first. So now that this brisket is 160 degrees, it's time to cut it, serve it up. We need to figure out which side is which. You got the point and you got the flat. Flat's where your lean meat's at. Point is where your fatty meat's at. You want to get those burn ends off of here as well. So now we're going to cut this brisket. I turn it facing me sideways, and what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to cut it in half. Now you got to figure out where the point is. You can see it kind of curves down to right about here. That's where you want to cut. So we'll take our knife, don't cut your fingers, cut the brisket. So we want to go ahead and move this point out of the way. First thing I like to do is go ahead and cut up the lean brisket. I'll start here with a nice thick center part. You want to cut it about a 1/4 inch. So it's nice and thin, but still has a nice bite. One thing I do like to do, even though it is a little lean, not really technically the burn ends, some of your lean eaters are going to want extra bark. So I'll take this last bit, go ahead and cut it into some chunks for them. Oh, you want to be kidding me? The next step after you sliced up the flat is you're going to want to turn the point 180 degrees so you can slice it against the grain, which is really important. You're going to want to get those burn ends off the point as well. That'll be our next step. When we're cutting this point, you want to turn it. So right now, if you cut it this way, you're going to be cutting with the grain. So we want to turn it against the grain. This section right here is where we're going to get those famous burn ends off the brisket. Best 4 or 5 bites off the entire brisket right here. So let's go ahead and cut these burn ends up, that way we can enjoy those. We'll lay them down flat. Just cut them in nice thick chunks. That's the bite you're looking for. Making a mess on myself. So good. So next we want to move these burn ends out of the way for somebody to enjoy and cut up the rest of this point. As you can see, we're cutting against the grain. That way you can really enjoy it. see, you got all that beautiful fat on there. That's what you're looking for. More beautiful marbleized fat. Just keep slicing through. So when you get done with your meal, there happens to be any brisket left over, you're going to want to store it and continue enjoying it. The best way you can do that is pack it into a Ziploc bag, wrap it up nice and tight, try to get as much air out of there, throw it in the fridge, and you can continue to enjoy your brisket for another 4 to 5 days before you might want to freeze it or chop it up and throw it into a soup or something. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video on how to reheat a brisket. We're going to be making a lot more of these videos for you down the road, so make sure you like and subscribe. These videos are to help you enjoy the brisket the way we intend for it to be served here at the restaurant. That way you can have that InterStellar experience at home. Thank you for buying a brisket from us here at InterStellar, and we'll see you next time.